So are the Luxor's days numbered? Is the big pyramid in Las Vegas going to be gone soon enough? It's funny because just today the wife and I were driving past it and I said, look at that, they're putting all this landscaping in, and she asked, does that obelisk even open up and the Sphinx shoot any kind of lasers? And I said, no. Why would it? There's no foot traffic. But the newest rumor from vitalvegas.com, and they don't post things lightly, is that the Luxor is going to go away. We're going to discuss why that might happen and what could be actually put there. I mean, nowadays, how are you even going to finance something like that? Well, there's some options for that, and it's especially interesting with MGM Resorts International because heavens knows they have a bunch of money they're sitting on, but nobody knows how much money that they've actually blown through during the shutdown. We're going to discuss all that. My name is Steven, and I am not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. I hope you would like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and tell us, would the loss of the Luxor be anything that upset you? I know I have nostalgic memories. We came here in 1995 or 96. We came here 2 years in a row, and I can't remember which year. I was little, knee-high to a grasshopper, which means I was that tall somehow, and never get those old sayings. But I remember they used to have laser light shows in front of the Luxor, and it was an area that was supposed to be lauded as, like, you know, the kid-friendly version of Vegas. But now we have de-theming. We have all these things that people have to go through in order to make their hotel popular and their resort livable and survivable in the new version of Las Vegas, whatever that version might be. Before we get started, go ahead and do me a favor. Click like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you guys want to be in the credits of the videos, head on over to Patreon. If you guys want to support the channel and you need a face mask anyways, you can go to vegasfacemask.com. We have the patriotic ones. They wrap around your head so there's no horrible ear elastic, and they are made by my wife, custom made just for you. We are looking at 7 days to get them shipped out to you because she has so many to make, but you'd be supporting the channel that way. We also have links in the description to Teespring, to Amazon, and also to Vegas.com if you're looking to buy stuff online. So we have to talk about what is really going on at the Luxor. Why is it that there's a rumor that this property would be going anywhere to begin with, and what would they do? So Vital Vegas is a pretty great blog. They've actually been hunted out and sourced down by the news, local news like KTNV and Fox 5. They were the first to break the paid parking over at the MGM. They were the first to break a lot of things. It's a great blog. And they're posting up that from what they've heard from executives and people and sources that they have, that the Luxor's days may be numbered. I gotta be honest, I really thought the Circus would be the first one to go. But when it comes to the new version of Vegas, we have to explore some things. And what would they do to the Luxor? Unfortunately, it looks like that they would have to demolish it. Yeah, I mean, the reason all this is happening, by the way, is it comes down to re-theming, not de-theming a resort. There's a couple of ones that have been successful. The MGM started off as a Wizard of Oz theme, and if you look at the MGM and look at the signage up front, for example, you can still see some of that whole Emerald City kind of look. If you go into the bar on the west wing and look up, you can actually see that there's some old Wizard of Oz themes on the roof area, but there's nothing much left. That was easy to de-theme and re-theme into just an MGM property. Then you also had the park, which used to be the Monte Carlo. That was easy enough. It was just a nice building. You could retheme that, put the Nomad on it. Boom, now you have the Park MGM. TI used to be the Treasure Island, and even though they didn't de-theme it entirely, they sure did get rid of the Davy Jones swashbuckling kind of look to it. And there's a couple of holdouts like Excalibur and Luxor that seem to be a bit of a problem for the property owners. The Luxor in particular is in a really bad place, right? You have the Mandalay Bay right next to it, so there's your kind of middle range. Then you have the Delano, or Delano, whichever way you want to roll. It's, by the way, it's Delano, like Franklin Delano Roosevelt. But then you have the Delano, and that's your kind of high end right down there. And right next to it, you have the Excalibur. That's your kid-friendly place. That's kind of like Disney. So I don't see that going away because we still need a kid-friendly place on the south end of the strip. So what becomes of the Luxor? Somebody was commenting in one of the videos about how the failed Cirque du Soleil show Run didn't work out too well there. Chris Angel didn't have a great time at the Luxor. He had to close down his show and retool it. It's not in a great spot for foot traffic. It's right across the street from absolutely nothing. Its only saving grace might be for the fact that it's near the Raiders Stadium, and heaven forbid we don't have any fans. If we have fans coming in, it's going to be a real popular destination for people who are going to be attending the games, but there's tons of hotel rooms down there, so that's not a use specifically for the Luxor. But it's an Egyptian-themed resort from an era of Las Vegas that doesn't make much sense anymore. kids would want to see the Luxor. When the Luxor first opened, it was a theme kind of ride to get you to check in. Most people don't know this, but they had converted the check-in process. Show up in 1995 to the Luxor, put your luggage on a raft, and float to the front desk check-in. Cost for 2 to 3 hour long check-in processes. They monetized that and made it into a 4D ride in the hotel. But the Luxor used to have arcades. It used to have all sorts of kid-friendly things. And with kids not being what Vegas is catering to right now, and with adults wanting a resort that's going to give them all of the services they need and not be far away from things, the Luxor is having a hard time. Additional hard time for the Luxor right now is the fact that the tram that runs and attaches the Luxor, Mandalay Bay, and the Excalibur, not running. Not running at all due to C-19 reasons. We don't want to cram people into a car if we don't have to. So the Luxor is in a weird spot. You can't retheme the hotel without it obviously being an Egyptian pyramid theme. You can't do much with it except for demolish it. That lends us to the next question. Where would the money come from to actually be able to demolish and rebuild something like the Luxor? That's where I think MGM finds themselves in the biggest kind of quagmire. You have the Luxor, you have to rip it down, you don't want to spend the money to rebuild it. MGM Resorts International last year posted a $900 million profit, $1.2 billion profit, mostly due to something around $900 million worth of sales that they made to various companies like Blackstone and Phil Ruffin. Selling off those properties was something that they were doing so they could possibly enter the Japanese market when the Japanese government was considering bids from people to build a brand new gaming district in Japan. Now with C-19, those things have been shelved. Who knows? Possibly not going to happen in the next 5 years. So what does the MGM Resorts International people do? Do they go ahead and hope that the tourism comes back, make a large investment, and slowly but surely plan on decommissioning the Luxor and tearing it down? Just tearing that building down would take over a year's time. It could give them some time in order to not have to book the Luxor and get people to their other properties in the area like the Excalibur, the New York, and the MGM Grand. But at the same time, there's a large capital investment with new hotels and properties costing billions of dollars just to invest in. Billions of dollars coming from where exactly? I don't think there's a casino property in Las Vegas that's going to be posting much of a profit through the end of 2020. Possibly 2021 looks better. Maybe a vaccine shows up out of nowhere and just works really well. My sources tell me that's definitely a possibility, but not necessarily a probability. And until we have everything sorted out, the Luxor is in a really strange place of limbo, isn't it? But I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. Do you think the Luxor is a property that you would miss in Las Vegas? Do you have nostalgic reasons that you don't want it to be torn down? And if you guys do, let us know in the comments below. Or do you think it's time to get rid of the themed hotels in Las Vegas entirely? Start all over with just nice modern properties? Or do you think we should have a Canadian themed and Australian themed property on the south end of the strip? What do you think fits in where the Luxor goes? And that's my thoughts on that. Now, hopefully you guys can get a better understanding of the situation. And as it develops, of course, we'll tell you more as we know it. This is just a rumor. That's the rumor. We don't know if it's going to happen, so don't flip out if you have reservations for the Luxor. Don't be calling them, worrying that they're closing down and being torn down next month. But that's what we have to tell you today. Now, my name's Steven. I'm not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications if you want to be in the credits to the video like these folks in a few seconds. Make sure you head on over to Patreon. Head on over to vegasfacemask.com. No S at the end. The 2 best masks you'll ever have. You'll be supporting the channel that way. And we'll get you guys in another video. Now's the time of the video where I say 3, 2, 1, click. So I'm going to go right now. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and click.